play-in game ended in New Orleans. Oklahoma City up by 3, 121-118. Inbound for the Pelicans. Herbert Jones looking for C.J. McCollum with a chance to tie or take. No. He threw it away. Oklahoma City prevails. Final score 123-118. Brandon Ingram had hit a huge three to make it a 1-point game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hit a pair of free throws to make it a 3-point game and then salted away on free throws. 123-118 for Oklahoma City. The visitors prevail thanks in part to Josh Giddey. 1 rebound shy of a triple-double. 31 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a huge second half for the Thunder. 25 of his 32 in the second half as the Thunder get a huge game from SGA, Josh Giddey, and Lou Dort. His best game of the season, 27 points in this one for Lou Dort. And the Thunder win a close one in the Big Easy as they move on to face the Timberwolves on Friday for the 8th seed. The winner of that game gets a date with the Nuggets in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. And for more, let's get some instant analysis. Welcome in CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. Bill, wow, what a finish there. What was your reaction to how that game finished?
Yeah, well, that was a really fun game. And as we talked about at halftime, what an exciting young team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is an absolute superstar. Josh Giddey is going to be a superstar. I don't think we're under any illusion that the Thunder, if they win that game against the Timberwolves, are going to just suddenly rocket their way to a conference finals or a finals this season, Akeem. But I think that's some insight into the reason folks around the NBA believe the Thunder in a year or 2 or 3 are going to be really, really good.
Really, the difference here, Bill, was in the third quarter. They were down by 6 at halftime. Oklahoma City comes out in the third quarter, outscores New Orleans 39-24, and then able to just close it down the stretch, even though Brandon Ingram hit some really big shots in the end.
Yeah, Ingram had such a clutch 3 at the end. We talked about this again at halftime. The fact the Thunder, I think, were able to hang in there and be within striking distance after that first half, despite the fact that SGA really played poorly in the first half, that boded really well for their ability to come back and win this game. And as expected, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, one of the best scorers in the NBA and certainly one of the best young scorers and players on the planet, was awesome, particularly in that third quarter. Giddey was able to impact the game, and you could just get the sense that this was a Thunder team, as their star and SGA started to play well in that third quarter, that were loose. It wasn't the same kind of pressure. They moved the ball well, and they just, to me, looked like the team. And this really, I think, was epitomized by that play where they threw it away, the Pelicans, at the end of that game, where the Thunder just played like a team where there wasn't the same level of pressure. And
you have to think maybe this outcome would be different if Zion Williamson had played. Dealing with the hamstring injury. What's the outlook here for New Orleans in the offseason? I mean, you want to get him right. You need to get him right. You need to pair him with Brandon Ingram, really, for this team to compete in the Western Conference. Just your thoughts going into the offseason here for New Orleans.
Yeah, Keem, you climbed into my brain because as we watch the guys celebrate the winners and the Pelicans congratulate the Thunder and walk off, that's exactly what I thought about Zion. I understand that David Griffin today told some reporters that they haven't cleared Zion Williamson. They haven't given the chance to be back on the floor. But let's be frank, it's a terrible look, Akeem. You've got video of Zion before the game attacking the rim in warm-ups and dunking ferociously. You've got Zion saying he's physically fine. He just doesn't feel like Zion. So I think for the Pelicans, there's just a question of when are you going to be able to reliably believe that Zion Williamson can play 50 or 60 or 70 games? Because when he was doing that, this was one of the best teams in the Western Conference this regular season. And when he hasn't, they're not. You're right. That's the missing piece. That's the missing equation. And the fact that he said he's physically okay, and he looked pretty good in warm-ups, I mean, it's a big question mark as it relates to how reliable this guy can be from a health perspective going forward.
Yeah, hadn't played, has not played, and will not play as they get knocked out of the play-in tournament since January 2nd with a hamstring injury. Played in just 29 games this season, so certainly a disappointment for Zion and for the Pelicans heading into the offseason as they try to get him right heading into next season. The season continues for Oklahoma City as they meet up with the Timberwolves on Friday. Oklahoma City 1-3 against the T-Wolves in the regular season. We know the drama surrounding Minnesota with Rudy Gobert. How does that impact them in this game? Does Oklahoma City have a chance here to beat Minnesota? What do you think about this matchup Friday?
I mean, look, when you get lucky, you just roll with it. I thought the Thunder would win this game against the Pelicans, and I thought they'd end up playing the Timberwolves and they'd win that game too. It is significant that Rudy Gobert is going to return under the cloud of heaven, punched his teammate in the arm. Now, we'll see how it works. Sometimes it brings guys together. Sometimes it drives them apart. It really, Akeem, depends on whether they like Rudy Gobert. I mean, like, what is real behind the scenes? I think the Thunder are a dynamic basketball team, and I know they'll be the underdog. They are the underdog in this game against New Orleans. I like Oklahoma City. It's one game, right? There's the caveat. Who knows? I like the Thunder to win the game. I like SGA to be the best player on the floor. I know Gobert is going to be back, and that'll be significant, but we saw the depth of talent on this young Thunder team. But, man, there are some guys that can ball out there, and I like their chances to pull another upset.
Yeah, Oklahoma City, the young team looking good, and really no drama surrounding that team. So why not take the Thunder to move on against the Timberwolves and have a date with the 1-seed Nuggets in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs? We'll see when that game plays out Friday night in Minnesota. Bill Reiter with the latest here on CBS Sports HQ. Bill, thanks. And here we are. We are all set in the West. The bracket is set. Oklahoma City going to play Minnesota on Friday for the 8th seed. The winner of Friday's game will play the 1-seed Nuggets in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.
Advance to play the Bucks in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, thanks in part to this man, Max Strus. Have yourself a night, kid. He goes for 31 points on 7 of 12 from beyond the arc, a perfect 8 for 8 from the free throw line. Make your free throws, kids. 102-91 is the final as Miami moves on, and Jimmy Butler also scoring 31 points as well. And look, you got to lead by example, right? After the loss to the Hawks, he said, quote, "So come Friday, we've got to play like legit, the exact opposite that we played tonight," end quote. And they got out-rebounded in that game, really outclassed against Atlanta, out-rebounded 63-39. And Jimmy Butler said that the rebounding was just horrendous. Well, on this night, it was not horrendous. 51-37 was the advantage for the Miami Heat, and the advantage, well, they get a date with the Milwaukee Bucks. Get some instant analysis. Welcome in CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. Bill, how about Max Strus, Jimmy Butler stepping up when it mattered most in a wild game in Miami?
Yeah, what a great game and what a performance. This is classic Miami Heat basketball, and this, Akeem, is the recipe they want. Play great defense, confound the opposing team's best player. They made Zach LaVine's night absolutely brutal for him to get comfortable. Get some help, especially from the three-point line, which has been a struggle for the Heat this year. You mentioned Strus. What a night in that regard. And let Jimmy Buckets be Jimmy Buckets toward the end of the game. Make some big plays. Put it all together, and you've got a really difficult Miami Heat team advancing to the actual postseason.
Bill, they had a 14-point lead in the first quarter of this game. How were they able to absorb Chicago's best punch and survive?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of things about this Miami Heat team that are weaknesses for them against the Milwaukee Bucks, but mental fortitude's never going to be one of them. This is an Eric Spoelstra coach team. This is a Pat Riley-inspired team. He's obviously in charge of basketball operations, the way they practice, the way they talk, the things they say to each other. It's all about don't give up, absolute hustle. You mentioned the rebounding, learn from our mistakes. And so the Heat are the kind of team that are built, if they get down, if they get punched in the face, they are programmed to know how to respond and to keep fighting.
All right, so Max Strus goes for 31 points, as does Jimmy Butler. Max Strus hitting 7 three-pointers in this game, Bill. What did you see from him? Why were they feeding him so much and him able to get so wide open in terms of hitting shots? And he got fouled at the end of the game there for 3 free throws. He was perfect from the line. What were you able to see from him?
Some of it's the rebounding advantage, Akeem. Obviously, you get the rebound. It allows the Heat to get out in transition and to move a little more quickly. And I know talking to folks in that organization, an organization that went from the best three-point shooting in the game last year to one of the worst this year, was a signal for them. They need to work on how to get guys open shots, move the ball a little bit better, and they need somebody to step up. And I think you saw that tonight. They moved the ball more often than they have in the past. Spoelstra went away a little bit from some of the ISO plays he'd call for some of the primary guys. They knew they had to hit them three-point shots, and it just happened to be Strus who got the ball and just kept hitting them down.
All right, so Miami advances to play the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. As you see, winning when it counts. They advance to face the one-seed Bucks. Oh, goody. So Milwaukee is going to be a tough out. Why? Because they're the favorite to win the NBA title, looking to win their second title in 3 years, and Miami gets a first-round date with Giannis and the Bucks. So the Heat and the Bucks split the regular season series. Game 1 is Sunday. And just to give you the context here, Bill, because I know you know this, but just to say it out loud, the Bucks finished the regular season 29-7. They were 32-9 at home, which is, of course, where this series starts. And the Bucks have home court advantage throughout the playoffs. Should they get to the finals, they'll have home court advantage. What chances are you giving Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat against Giannis and the Bucks?
Very little. I mean, very little, Akeem. Congratulations to the Heat. Your prize is a poison chalice. But they can do it. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It's not an impossible task. I don't think it's a likely outcome, but it is a Heat team last year that pushed the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. They do play, we know, the Heat extraordinary defense. And if you want to pick on the Bucks a little bit, right, look for a reason. Their offense was inconsistent and mediocre this year. A lot of that, Akeem, is because Chris Middleton missed tons of time, and when he played, didn't play a lot of minutes. He's expected to be fully healthy. He just had a full practice. That they think he's going to be out there. And you noted this is a Bucks team that looked like the Bucks down the stretch at the end of the regular season. All of that said, the Heat play really tough basketball. They're physical. They play great defense. Jimmy Butler's a guy who can go out there and at least take over parts of games on both ends of the floor. And if the Heat, is a big if, can find their groove a little bit on the three-point shot, and certainly Max Strus did in that playing game to get to this series, they can make it tough. The Bucks are clearly the favorite, but they'd rather play not anybody else, but most anybody else than this Miami Heat team in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, favorite to win the NBA title. By the way, 8 seeds are 5-73 against 1 seeds all time in the first round. The last 8 seed to win was the 76ers in 2012 when they beat the Bulls. Derrick Rose tore his ACL in Game 1. Philly won that series in 6. I'm not giving Miami a chance in this series, Bill. This is Bucks. It might as well be Bucks in 3. I'm sorry. This is play the series. That's why they play the games. Bucks in 3. Bucks in 3. They don't give you that. That's not an option. You got to win 4. But that's how much I feel like this is going to be an overwhelming mismatch. I hope I'm wrong, and maybe we get a 7-game series. But Bill, correct. You're Reiter than everyone. You're Bill Reiter. Like this could be Bucks in 3. It could be just a slobber knocker in the first 2 games in Milwaukee.
Yeah, the Heat are just like, we don't want to play the final game. Our fans don't show up anyway. You can look, yes, you're almost certainly right that it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks. But it's been such a bizarre year, Akeem, and so many of the contending teams have had guys who've been injured throughout the year that there's always, unfortunately, I don't even want to say it out loud, there's a chance somebody gets hurt. And I do think the Heat are an organization that can push Milwaukee to 5. I was going to say 6. 5. They're going to, it's probably a 4 or 5 game series, but the games are closer than you would think because this is a really well coached and really good team. But I'm with you. I think the Bucks are the best team in the NBA. I think Miami's a tough first round matchup. I really do. I think they're markedly more difficult than the Atlanta Hawks, ironically. But the Bucks are advancing.
You're telling me there's a chance. I mean, there is a chance. So I don't think it's a good one. But there is a chance. Heat and Bucks split the regular season series again. Game 1 is Sunday. Bill Reiter, thank you.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.